satellite fire is appearing here again a little further to the west. So about 10 minutes later, the fire on the third floor has moved a little further to the west. So has the fire on the seventh floor. It has gone out here and is still living down here. But nothing else actually is going on here on the north side. Going back to the southeast corner, which I showed you a few pictures earlier, the fires on the 12th and the 13th floor now has gone out. We'll see there has been a fire here on the 8th floor. Apparently it is only simmering here. Here there's a quite substantial amount of smoke coming out of this window. Maybe he's forgotten his window tires in the office. And this time I'm frequently asked, now what's the smoke you can see on the backside of the building? Some of it definitely is from buildings. There was low intensity fires, whatever you would call it, going on. And you all know that when a campfire is dying out, there's a lot of smoke coming. And also on this day, there was a weak northern wind coming in from this direction. You can see the smoke going around the window and going in back. So on the back side of Building 7, there was a swirl which would take whatever came out of Building 7 and pull it upwards. But most of the smoke here is from World Trade Center 5, which was lying behind, as we are seeing this from the north side, World Trade Center 5 was lying behind Building 7. And what was going on in World Trade Center 5? This is 5. This is what was happening to 5. It's actually, and do I have to say that it remains standing? It is a smaller building, obviously, but I think it's remarkable that World Trade Center was indeed burning, and the part that was burning remains standing. There's no sound in this clip, so I can just keep on talking. So let's go back to Building 7. When this is finished, we are approaching the collapse time. And these pictures, the one to the right, is definitely the time is secure, because this is a digital camera with a timestamp on it. And also this kink in this penthouse will be important in a little while, indicates that this is fractions of seconds before Building 7 is collapsing. The left picture has been time determined by NIST itself from the slope of the shadows coming down here. From this, the astronomers can very accurately tell you what was the time of this particular spot that day. And also there's something with the street lights coming up, which indicates that this picture is also from moments before the building is collapsing. And the point here is, I just cannot see any fires anyway. I don't know if you can, but this is the situation. For sure, whichever fires was occurring in Building 7, they were small and they were random. Now NIST they don't try to hide what their assignment is. This is a quote you can find in the NIST report if you read the first 300 pages. I can tell you where it is, but some of us have read this very carefully. And you can find the challenge was to determine if the fire-induced floor system failure could occur in WTC7 on an ordinary building contents fire. That is, they're not out to find out actually what happened. They are here to make probable that Building 7 collapsed due to ordinary office fires. So now I will try to explain to you the mechanical collapse model proposed by NIST. That is a sequence of events occurring while the building is collapsing. A similar model does not exist for the towers. NIST has never discussed the collapse of the towers. The timeline of the report on the towers stops before the towers actually collapse. But they do so on Building 7. And as you have seen, and as I have pointed out, prior to the collapse of the whole building, there is a kink in the penthouse penthouse up here. So the mechanical model they're proposing must account for this. This picture is the north side, and unfortunately, the only floor plan I have has the south side down here, so you have to use your imagination just a little bit. The penthouse is situated above the 79th column, out here in the northeast corner of the building. And what NIST is suggesting is that there was a fire on the 12th floor in this northeast corner, which heated the floor beam supporting the 13th floor, which expanded laterally, we call it in physics, which expanded without losing its stiffness. So it expanded, pushing the girder of the beam connecting the 79th column with the 44th perimeter column. We're talking about these steel beams here, pushing the connecting beam here off its seats. As indicated here, the beam expands. It does not push at all the perimeter column for some reason. All the expansion is delivered to this beam here, and which eventually falls down. So the beam falls down here from the 13th floor. It takes in the fall 3, 4, 5, 6 with them on its way down. And this way, column 79 was deprived by its lateral support. So it starts bending, and eventually it bends so much that it goes all the way down. This way, depriving column 80 and 81 of this lateral support. So now it stops bending, 80 and 81 starts bending, going down. Subsequently, this what they call progressive collapse is spreading horizontally through the steel structure for some reason, which is not easily understood. And the whole inner structure of building 7 then collapses. And when the whole inner structure has gone down, then the perimeter columns go down. And this is what we see. Okay. This is a sequence of events that NIST is proposing. I'll show you a visualization of this sequence of events. NIST does not make any experiments when they're working on buildings. They did so when they worked on the towers, and they did not do the building civil. They only do what they call computer simulations. And computer simulation is a quite, what you would say, accepted tool in natural sciences when you try to reproduce a set of experimental data. But when doing so, you have to publish the software you're using, and very importantly, what we call the input parameters. This is what basically is happening here is that you build a mathematical model of the building, and then you ask the computer what happens, say, if we remove this element. This would be called an input parameter to the program, because this is the basis from which the program makes its calculations. But NIST has not published neither the software they have used for this, nor the input parameters, actually the commands which the computer used for the calculations. Instead, they basically, what they're saying is that the answer is in their black box. We come up to them and say, why did building 7 collapse? And they point to their computer and say, the answer is in here. This is all they do, really. And they bragged that this was the world's biggest computers, and they were chewing on these data for 6 to 8 months. You'll see the result in a little while. I call it animations, because what they're doing is they're providing the visual support for their model. And animations is what you see in the movies, like Star Wars, George Lucas' Star Wars. So many people who have seen Star Wars have gotten used to the existence of flying saucers, and that you can travel from one corner of the universe to another with the snap of the fingers, the existence of directed beam weapons and stuff like that. They do not exist. what mist is derived. Now first, this is not merely a simulation. This is just a visualization of the whole